Hey everybody, Ryan here, coming at you with a different kind of video than I've ever done before. I was actually inspired by one of my good pals to start making these kind of videos. And when I was younger, I used to love going hiking and nature trails and stuff, and I'm just trying to get back to doing that kind of stuff. And so I'm just in my city at a place called Castaway Island Preserve. Yeah, I actually only live a few miles from here, but I just love coming out here because since I live in, a very water-filled part of Florida, which is the northern part of Florida, there's a lot of marshes and palms and all this stuff, and armadillos and raccoons, and there's just a lot of awesome nature. And so I've just always wanted to make these kind of videos on this channel, so this is the start of it. So let's keep on going. What I read at the front, I think this is like a 0.5 mile, so like a half a mile trail. It's either a half a mile or a mile, I can't remember. And so it's just nice, short, peaceful. And I got a lot of other places planned that I'm gonna be going to that I remember going to growing up, because I actually used to hike all the time. I mean, I remember doing a 15-mile hike when I was younger through the woods, and it's just always been a love of mine. And I kind of went off the trail. I think I found a homeless person. Yeah, I came through that way. The trail is, the paved part is over there. This is just an offshoot. The reason why this trail is paved is because of, it's actually a pretty fairly recent addition to the city. They already had this preserve, but then they spent the money, putting some studies into some of the animals around here, and they paved a trail to make it, more family friendly, and anybody could really do it, and it's not too hard, and it's fun in the middle of the nature. And so yeah, that's why it's paved. All the other ones I'm going to go to are not paved, but this one is fairly new, and it was a pretty big deal when they started this thing. They really tried to, because it's really right in the middle of this, of where a bunch of things, like a bunch of life is, I guess, is going on. And so this actually came off, and now I know why, because somebody made a trail that comes on further towards the estuary, and like right over there going down that way is where the intracoastal waterway is, and that's what separates Jacksonville Beach from Jacksonville. So yeah, so this is basically what I was in the middle talking about. It's kind of in the middle of, not the city, but in the middle of Jacksonville Beach, and a bridge that goes over to the Jacksonville mainland. And so there's just cars and traffic and stuff like that. So it's just nice that they actually have a preserve, because most of Jacksonville and Jacksonville Beach is just like a bunch of, other than the city parts, it's a lot of woods, marsh, and a lot of nature stuff. And so I'm really glad they set this aside, because it's a really important thing. And I grew up about a mile or so from here, so yeah. And I think I see this other trail right here. You can continue and go that way. But I think it's a little offshoot here to where you could see, I think, more scenery. So let's go that way. It's funny to me how beautiful the weather is out here today, because it just yesterday, and the reason why I'm wearing a jacket and everything right now is because it's in the 40s here now, and yesterday it started out in the 80s, and just to give you an idea for people that aren't familiar with Florida, yesterday started out in the 80s, and then around 2 o'clock in the afternoon we got a severe weather warning, and basically the cold front was coming in and torrential downpour, reports of tornado warnings. I was at work, and the hospital that I work at actually called a code for a tornado warning. Houses were, knocked down by trees and stuff like that, and it was pretty crazy weather. And now it's a beautiful day, and now it's just colder. Who would have thought that about, I would say 12 hours or 24 hours ago from now, you couldn't even see 2 inches in front of you. That's how bad it was. And at nighttime, it was kind of warm a little bit as the front was still coming in. And now I woke up this morning and it was in the 30s. So that's Florida weather for you. Yeah, so I came from over here, and it looks like here is an overlook, and then there's another trail to go to an overlook over there. So let's go over here, shall we? Oh yes, this is beautiful. Oh, this is amazing. I love it. And there's the Intracoastal Waterway. There's Jack's Beach. I actually grew up on Jack's Beach. Probably in about 3 miles, because Jack's Beach is really only about 3 miles wide. About 3 miles that way is the Atlantic Ocean, and I grew up closer to the ocean on the beach. So I grew up straight that way, and it just looks amazing. I've grown up and lived here my whole life, and it just never seems to not blow me away about how beautiful it is here. Yeah, I was really inspired to start doing this series again by one of my buddies who kind of does videos like this. But also, I'm really trying to get out of the stresses of life too at the same time. Life throws so many curveballs, so much stress at you, whether it's work or whatever. And I just need to get back to where I need to be in regards to being full of peace, in regards to life and everything like that. And what better way to do that than to go out on nature trails? I used to go camping and stuff all the time when I was a kid, and it's not like there's anything going on in my life or anything like that I gotta escape, but it's always good after I just got off, my work week, and I work at a hospital, so, it's really crazy and hectic working at hospitals and stuff, and so it's always good just to get out and get into nature just to escape all the stresses of life, and that's what I want to do. And so I got a bunch of different places I'm going to go check out over the course of this series. I'll probably go like every maybe once every 2 weeks to a place or something. This is definitely not the last time I'll be here. So, yeah, we're gonna have I'm gonna do a lot of stuff here because it's closer to my house and it's very, very nice and I love it. So, now the Guana River State Park, which is closer to St. Augustine, which is probably only like 30 minutes south of where I live, those trails are actually a lot longer, but that's probably something I'm gonna do maybe in the spring, or maybe around Christmas time. I don't know. We'll see how that goes. But I used to go hiking on those when I was a kid all the time, and I used to love hiking. I think the longest hike I ever did was a 15-mile hike up in North Carolina. I'm pretty sure that was my longest hike. You know, I had the full hiking backpack, everything like that. So, but yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and head over to the other observation deck and see what it looks like over there. That's where I just was. So now I'm walking over to this one. Wow, look at that. I mean, this is just one of those things you can't really see it in all its beauty on film. You actually have to see it in person. It's just insane. All right, well, this observation deck looks like you see more of my hood, I guess you could say. So, yeah, definitely. Yeah, so from here, that's all the Intracoastal Waterway, and that goes north into the St. Johns River, and pretty much right when it goes into the St. Johns River, way back over there, it actually, the St. Johns River actually is going out to the Atlantic Ocean, and the naval base and everything is over there, and all that fun stuff. And so like I said, I grew up like right over there, probably like a couple miles that way. In fact, let me zoom in. I see a tower way over there. Yeah, right there. There's like that telephone antenna tower. That tower right there is actually only a block or two from where I grew up. So, yeah, that's, you know, where I grew up. And then over here, this is the Beach Boulevard Bridge. Right there. So, Jack's Beach over there, Jacksonville over here. And whenever I've done videos going into like a boat or going to a, you know, any kind of a harbor or anything like that, that's where I've been going. So, alright guys, well I'm gonna head back to the actual trail and see where else it'll take me. Who can bake a sunrise and sprinkle it with dew? I found them. Yes! These are the red berries from King Kong vs. Godzilla. Oh my gosh! Man, so far this has definitely been a walk to remember. And no, that was not a plug for that dumb Nicholas Sparks movie. Alright, I am to the end of this trail. Or of, you know, whatever, you know, the overlook. I don't even know what I'm trying to say. I'm at the end of this part of the trail. Now I'm getting back on the main trail, and I'm gonna keep on going. It breaks off again. All right, well, I'm gonna go this way, and then I'll come back and go that way and see what's up. actually, I think this is actually the main trail. I think the other part was the other trail, the break-off trail. So, I don't know. I actually know what I did. That trail that I originally said was the main trail, that was the part I was supposed to go straight on, and then it loops around and it connects again, and I actually went to the left and it was actually the opposite way. I would eventually came back to that point because it was a loop. So that's the kind of mistakes you make here on Ryan's Cinematic Obsessions. See, here we are. I went that way. I should have just kept on going. I should have actually just gone this way instead of that way, because the final marker over there said, "Thank you for coming to Castaway Island Preserve." And I was like, oh, okay. So I guess I'm gonna head back to the parking lot, and there's actually another little trail that goes out, and I'm gonna go out on that too. So stay tuned. I forgot to mention, yes, there are alligators where I live. Let's get out of here. Actually, I just found a little trail that goes off. It looks man-made. So before I get out of here, I'm gonna go look and see what's down here. Nothing really, just sometimes these little trails go off like this because in this area of Florida, there's so many nature preserves, there's so much forest that unfortunately, you know, people come, you know, some homeless people come and they just, you know, camp out in the woods. And so that's, I mean, I don't have a problem with that because at least they have a place to be, you know, in nature, all that kind of stuff. But you always see those kind of, I remember one time when I was younger, I actually I used to BMX bike. I remember I was on a BMX trail, and off to the side, I mean, there's a full-on complex of homeless people, and it was like tents and all this stuff, and it was a full-on complex, and they said, you know, we were talking to them, and they said they just choose to be homeless because they don't want to have to pay any taxes, all that kind of stuff. So they said they've been doing it since like the 60s. So, you know, it's pretty common down here to see that in different trails and stuff like that. So, but I actually haven't seen anybody. It's usually probably just where people sleep, because you just see like maybe like a bottle of water or something out in an area that looks like somebody cleared out to sleep or something. Who knows? So let's get back on the trail. All right. And this was another map of where I went. So yeah, I'm right here. Yeah, so this was the trail right here that went up into those observation decks. So yeah, cool. Yeah, that was definitely a fun trail to do. I have driven by this probably 300 to 5 billion times, but I have just never stopped in on this trail. Now I have been over where I'm getting ready to go, because I used to film some videos and stuff over there, not for this channel, but a while back. And yeah, so I'm gonna go over there. There's another observation deck, and there is a plane. I was trying to, oh, there we go. Come on, come on, come on. Yeah, I've been out here probably for about an hour or so in this trail back here since I started. Mainly that's just because I took my time and I sat down at the end of one of the observation decks. So now I'm back on the main road of the park. Behind me there's, you know, picnic areas and stuff like that, and so I'm actually walking up to my car now. I'm gonna get some water really quick. Yeah, that's cool. It's just a nice little boat ramp that people could land at. I've been by here, but you know, as you can see, the way, like where the boats and everything go, they're further into the intercoastal waterway. Oh man, this has been amazing. A much needed R&R in the middle of nowhere, even though it's in the middle of where I live. But yeah, there's a little sailboat out there right now. But it's definitely been peaceful. Yeah, I was just walking, I see one of the other one of those other trails that I was just on way over there. Let's zoom in on that and see. Yeah, way over there. That is actually that offshoot trail that went to the observation decks, and those decks are probably like way out over here somewhere. Alright, well I guess it's... Oh, actually, I'm gonna go to this other observation deck over there. Alright everybody, thank you for watching this video. It's been a lot of fun. I hope you enjoyed this first episode in this new series. And let me know what you think of it down below. And make sure you like, subscribe, comment, and thank you so much for watching.